United never die!
Because what Carrick is bringing back to Old Trafford right now is the one thing Manchester United fans were warned never to feel again: hope. For more than a decade, this club has lived in noise, loud promises, loud failures, loud managers, louder excuses. But the most dangerous sound in football isn't noise, it's silence. And right now, Manchester United are winning in silence. No slogans, no declarations of a new era, no chest-beating press conferences, just football, just structure, just belief. Michael Carrick was never meant to make people feel like this again. He was supposed to steady the ship, guide United to the end of the season, secure a Champions League place, and quietly step aside. That was the plan.
When they hired him, the objective was stabilise the ship, get us into Europe, top six, and then we can move you on, or we can say thanks for your help and we'll get a coach in the summer.
But plans change when reality starts to look familiar. Because suddenly, fans are watching United and feeling something strange. Calm, control, confidence. They're watching substitutions that change games.
Cunha down the right-hand side. Cunha taking on O'Reilly. Looks to get the cross in. Dorgu! 2-0! Oh, Mateus Cunha! It's fantastic! He works his socks off!
Midfielders who look like they know where the ball will be before it arrives. Players who don't panic under pressure.
Big problem for Manchester United. This is Mateus Cunha! That's a superb strike! And Manchester United have turned it around again!
And that scares people. Not rivals, not opponents, but pundits, former players, even United legends. They're all saying the same thing. Relax. It's only 3 games.
Imagined when he took over, with those 2 fixtures looming, City at home, Arsenal away, that he'd come through that with 6 points?
No, not on any front. Not on the front of getting the points, not on the front of seeing the levels of performance. No.
He won't win trophies. He's just an interim.
Are we all going to sit here and believe Michael Carrick can get United winning league titles?
Well, we've only got evidence of the last 2 weeks.
I know, but that's still not enough for me. If you think on the back of 2 wins he warrants the job, then that's your opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. I don't believe.
Last week you said, Roy, it's 1 result.
No,
it's just 1 result.
Yeah, no,
now it's 2 results.
2 big results.
And at what point did then it become irresistible that Michael Carrick has to become a really strong part of this conversation about United's future?
I think if United win every game from now till the end of the season, I still wouldn't be giving him the job.
But here's the problem. Michael Carrick keeps winning. And worse than that, Manchester United keep playing like Manchester United again.
Whisper it, Alexis, but United are back. United are back.
Boy,
they were amazing.
Oh, boy.
They
are
were,
you not entertained?
No, they were
amazing.
Exactly.
Amazing.
3 wins on the spin.
Quietly, efficiently, dangerously.
In the end, a real throwback to an old Manchester United, a one that you played in, the celebrations in front of the Stretford end, last-minute winners.
Yeah, I've said it before the City game. I think it's a special place, this, and it was special things. And credit to the boys. You know, we knew today was going to be a really tough game, and getting questions all week about breaking down a low block and beating teams that you should beat.
To understand why this feels different, you need to understand why Michael Carrick was never supposed to matter. When Ruben Amorim left Manchester United, the club wasn't looking for a saviour. They were looking for a firefighter. The brief was brutally simple. Calm the chaos, stabilise the dressing room, protect the league position, secure a Champions League spot. Nothing more. No long-term vision, no tactical revolution, no philosophical reset. Just survive until the summer. Carrick was chosen not because he was exciting, but because he was safe. A former player, a calm presence, a man who knew the club's DNA, someone who wouldn't rock the boat. In other words, Carrick wasn't appointed to win hearts. He was appointed to manage decline. And that's what makes what's happening now so uncomfortable. Because Carrick didn't come in talking about identity. He didn't talk about intensity or mentality monsters. He talked about spacing, control, decision-making, footballing language. While United were supposed to be licking their wounds, something else started happening. The team stopped looking frantic. They stopped playing like they were constantly chasing the game. For the first time in years, United weren't reacting. They were dictating. That's not something you coach by accident. That's not something that happens because players feel free. That comes from structure, and structure comes from understanding the game at its deepest level. Carrick didn't inherit a perfect squad. He inherited scars, a dressing room still haunted by post-Ferguson chaos, by managerial churn, by false promises. This club has been here before. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer once brought hope as an interim too.
It's Rashford, it's the perfect start.
A sugar rush.
Herrera. The shot!
A wave of nostalgia.
Lingard, excellent football. Martial. Oh, that's a brilliant goal. That is superb from...
A magical night in Paris.
How's your bottle? Oh, he smashed it in! What a penalty from Marcus Rashford! Manchester United with another glorious night in the Champions League. United heading through to the quarter-finals.
When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer arrived as Manchester United's interim manager, the league felt something familiar. Not tactics, not structure, momentum. Ole didn't rebuild United, he freed them. From his very first match, the handbrake came off. Players attacked with instinct. Confidence returned overnight. Goals came in waves. United won 6 league games in a row immediately. Then 8 straight wins in all competitions. One of the most explosive starts any interim manager has ever had. At that point, Solskjaer's winning rate was extraordinary, over 90% in his opening run. Opponents didn't analyze United, they survived them. But that run was powered by emotion, by release, by the joy of change, and emotions fade. Solskjaer's interim spell proved something important. A bounce can lift you fast, but only control can keep you there. And then reality arrived. The football lacked control. The structure collapsed. The cycle repeated. That scar still exists. Which is why people are desperate to downplay Carrick. They've been hurt before, but Carrick isn't selling nostalgia. He isn't telling fans to remember the past. He's rebuilding the habits of winning, quietly. And that's far more dangerous than emotion. Because emotion fades, habits don't. That's the difference the league is learning again now. Because Carrick isn't riding momentum, he's building inevitability. 3 games. That's all it took to shift the emotional gravity around Manchester United. Not because of headlines, not because of hype, but because of how those games unfolded. 3 wins in a row. Something the previous head coach, Ruben Amorim, needed almost 13 months to achieve.
What Michael Carrick has done in the space of 3 games, Ruben Amorim, it took him 1 year to win 3 games in a row. That bloke's nearly about to get his hair cut. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you, what's he going to do?
Imagine we'll get to 4 games in it. But
And yet, under Carrick, it happened almost unnoticed. That's the most important detail. These wins didn't arrive with fireworks. They didn't arrive with viral press conferences. They didn't arrive with declarations of dominance. They arrived with control. United didn't look desperate to score. They didn't throw bodies forward blindly. They didn't rely on moments of chaos. They built pressure patiently. They managed space intelligently. They knew when to slow the game down and when to accelerate. This wasn't survival football. This was composed football. And suddenly, fans weren't just celebrating goals. They were watching patterns. They were seeing midfield rotations. They were seeing wide players tucked in at the right moments. They were seeing substitutions that changed the rhythm of games. And that's when something dangerous happened. People stopped saying, "We won." They started saying, "We played well." That distinction matters, because anyone can win a match. But when fans start enjoying the process again, when they start trusting what they're seeing, that's belief forming. And belief spreads fast. No one at Manchester United is saying the name Sir Alex Ferguson out loud. But everyone feels it. Not in the style, not in the era, but in the mentality. Ferguson's greatest strength wasn't tactics, it was timing. Knowing when to change a game, knowing when to protect a lead, knowing when to strike. Carrick's substitutions feel familiar, not reactive, not panicked, calculated. players come on with instructions, not hope. United don't chase games emotionally. They manage games intellectually. That's old United. That's the version of Manchester United the league learned to fear. Not because they were always better, but because they were always clearer. If you want the truth about Michael Carrick, don't look at the scoreline. Look at the midfield. Suddenly, midfielders are receiving on the half turn, playing forward under pressure, trusting positional discipline. They look automatic, not robotic, intelligent. Carrick isn't teaching flair. He's teaching decision-making, angles, distances, timing. This is a former elite midfielder shaping the game from the centre outward. And it's working. Because when the midfield is calm, everything else follows. Let's be honest. Yes, it's only 3 games. No serious analyst is declaring Manchester United back. But this isn't about a title charge. It's about direction. United are 4th in the table, on course for Champions League football, 12 points behind Arsenal. More importantly, they look like a team that understands itself. That hasn't been true for over a decade. Carrick hasn't fixed everything, but he's removed the chaos. And sometimes, removing chaos is the hardest job of all. Michael Carrick must stop doing this to Manchester United. He must stop making football feel simple again. He must stop making players look fearless. He must stop making fans believe quietly. Because once belief becomes calm, once it stops being emotional, it becomes powerful. Maybe Carrick doesn't lift a trophy this season. Maybe this run ends. But something has already changed. Manchester United don't look lost anymore. They look clear. And